You're coming too.
From Washington State to now sunny California. We've been at it for 5 years. It began with selling our previous boat and taking that money to buy tools and build a shed. We assembled keel pieces, poured the ballast, and raised all 16 frames in the first 6 months.
There's a boat in there.
Now, half a decade later, and at a slower but steady pace, we're in the water. We're Salt and Tar, and this is our life. Like, subscribe, and support if you can.
So today, I was going to be working on another project on the boat, but I decided instead I need to really focus on organizing my work area, improving it, so that in the future, completing projects and doing woodworking and just everything will be a lot easier, because lately it's been kind of a pain in the ass just because we've been really unorganized and sort of frazzled in the brain. The project's been really getting to us. It's been it's just been 5.5 years of full-time hard labor, and we've been getting pretty tired, pretty burnt out, but we've both been really making some good decisions towards improving everything, getting everything back in track, getting happier. So that's kind of why I decided, instead of working on the boat today, I was just going to clean and improve my workspace. So right now everything's kind of chaotic. I've just been pulling everything out so I can get in there for, first of all, just clean. But now I'm making a second workbench that's going to go over my wood pile, so that area will actually be usable, because right now it's just a bunch of wasted space. So where I have all my wood stacked, which will also have to get reorganized, but I'll do that later. I'm building in some framing right now, and then I'm gonna lay another piece of plywood up there, so to extend my workbench area all the way around, kind of get things flowing again and get that stoke back, because it's been missing for a little bit, but it's all good. I think we're on a really good trajectory, and I think things are gonna be back to normal or better than ever before. Okay, got the other little workbench in, tied into that one. We got my table saw storage under there, generator, router table, wood storage under here, all my long stuff, and I put this leg on a hinge so that when I want to get all this stuff down here, just hinge this leg out of the way. A little more organizing definitely have to take place, but I think it's a good start. So I've fished out all my pieces of Western red cedar, and now I've got first piece I already got cut up into chunks. This is my second piece. That's going to be the fore and aft faces of the deck box. This is going to be cut up into all the sections for this side. So I'm just doing it real rough, just kind of like over measuring it, adding an inch just for slop, and then I'm just gonna slice it up, and then I'm gonna run all of this stuff through the planer and get the thickness down, clean it up. Then I can cut them down to the final dimensions and then just start putting the box together.
Garrett's building our deck box that will house the controls for the engine, shift, throttle, and gauges. We have a Westerbeek 52 on board, which we bought back in 2016 for $3,500. Not even a year into the build and only 2 planks in, we started the work on the motor. Not exactly sure how we were going to get it inside the boat until we met a neighbor a couple months later who had a boom truck. The boat continued to build around the motor. It wasn't until after we launched in 2018 that we really worked on the engine again, mounting it in place.
All right, so I need to lift the engine up because I got these new mounts to replace the old rusty ones.
Then installing the driveline and thrust bearing. We've been assembling parts and materials as funds allow, and thanks to many of our followers, we have nearly all the pieces.
So I've been back here today while Ruth has been working on the next video.
The exhaust is run, the fuel tank is in. The last more involved project for the engine is running the cables, and since we have a flush cockpit, this means building a box.
Alright, here's the first little mock-up, just to kind of get an idea of things, but it's all going to be cut down and squared up because I cut all the pieces an inch over. Now that it's planed down, I'll take all the pieces and cut them to their final lengths and make sure everything's really nice and square, and then clamp them all up, dry fit them, and then I'll glue them and screw them. Alright, so run into a little bit of a hitch with this deck box. So before I keep going, I need to figure out how to attach the engine controls. And I've got two different kinds. The one that I want to use, that I like better, I don't think that I'm going to be able to use it because my material is just too thick, and being wood and Western red cedar, I just can't make it thin enough to work with it because I think it's made to mount through, like, I don't know, maybe 1/4 inch plywood or 1/4 inch fiberglass at the most. The other one, I think I can make it work. I just have to do some weird stuff with the wood, drill some big holes, route out a big spot for part of the housing to fit into. These are the two styles of shifters that I have. Like I said, I want to use this one because I think it's just higher quality. Everything seems just a lot more solid, but the distance between that and that, you have to mount it to here, and then this still has to clear with your cable attached to it. So, I mean, yeah, you're maybe looking at like a 1/4 inch material that you can mount this to, and that's not going to work with my wooden box because it's Western red cedar, and Western red cedar is great wood. It's super rot resistant, but it's very soft and it's not that strong, so I can't go that thin with it. I wouldn't go that thin with any wood, really. The other style is this one, and it's fine. It's just a lot older and a little more worn out, but I mean, it'll do the job. And I think that I can make it work by, I've got more room to work with anyway here, but it's still not enough. And I think that I can drill the hole for this to go through, and then where this housing is, I think I can take a router, I can trace out this housing and then take a router and just out of the inside of the box just make a footprint for that to slide into, and then I think that should work. So that's kind of what I'm figuring out right now, and just kind of how to go forward and how to make it work, but I think I've got a pretty good idea, so I'm just going to keep going. mind being on camera, not want to be on camera, don't care.
Don't really give a shit.
Today I got DJ here with me and we are gonna do some work on the motor because I haven't done any work on the motor for a really long time and kind of wanting to get it going soon. So we're just gonna mess around with finishing off the exhaust. I've got it all run here and I just want to put a little high temperature gasket on the bottom of the elbow here before I slide this on. It's a pretty good fit, but just going from marine to plumbing, the IDs and ODs are just slightly different, and this is a little bit smaller. So I'm just gonna put some gasket material in there and then put some hose clamps on it, and then we're gonna wrap this whole thing up with the fiberglass kind of heat shield, and then that'll be it for the exhaust. Then we just need to remake some of the cooling lines, maybe mount the raw water strainer, run some lines with through hull to the strainer to the motor. So that's the plan for today. Basically just smearing some all over this, so when I clamp down on the hose clamp, I know we'll have a nice tight seal. And this is high temp gasket, so it'll be good with the exhaust. So gooey. Oh, damn it. I forgot to put this hose clamps on. DJ! Why didn't you tell me?
It's not a real project unless you do something like that. If you did it right the first time, I'd be a little worried. Aren't you glad you bought the ones that you can actually take them apart?
Yeah.
Is that stuff pretty much hardened up? Pretty solid.
You can feel it's pretty soft still. It's like
Oh,
rubber.
I see. Yeah, it's kind of like a caulk sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Didn't you have to take apart 3?
Yes.
Do you feel like it would have been easier to just put them on there, you know?
Yeah, probably. Probably got a point there, I guess. Do you want gloves?
Nah.
We accomplished something!
Woo! We're so cool. I'm so proud of us.
So I'm going to keep working on the deck box today. That's going to hold all the engine controls and instruments and various plumbing fittings and whatnot. So I got my pieces, I got my stacks here. I just got these cool 90-degree clamps. I've never had anything like this before. This makes things so easy. I'm probably going to work down here on the floor because the steel floor in this shipping container is pretty flat. box started here. Now I'm going to take this stuff, it's just thin red cedar, and I'm going to cut it out. I'm going to cut it out to line this inside edge. I'm going to glue and screw it, and that lip will overhang, and that's what will kind of fasten the next layer that'll sit on top of this with. Here's the bottom section of the box glued and screwed, so now I just have to start stacking up the rest of the pieces against this inside lip with some glue, clamp them, fasten them in from the inside, then fasten them up along the edges. And then on the last stack, I have to do some more work on that one where the, at least where the shifter comes through for the engine. I need to take the router and cut out a little footprint for it. I have to figure out where exactly this is going to go on the inside, because then I need to trace out this housing, and then I need to route like 7/16 so this sits inset on this, so that there's enough length here to actually go through the wood, so the shaft comes out on the other side, so I can mount the handle. Probably should have looked at it closer before I started building the box, but I didn't even think about it, because I definitely could have gotten away with just planing all the wood for the box down to 1 inch, but I left it at 1.25 inches. So it is what it is at this point, so I just need to do a little extra work to make this guy fit. Alright, so it looks like on the inside I need to cut a hole for this width. On the outside I'm going to need something for that hole width. So what I think I'll do is I'll get a few different hole saws and use the same diameter bit, run the large size through from the other side to that depth, and then come around the back end, switch down to the smaller one, and then bore it all the way through with the smaller one. Then that'll give me kind of a stepped up hole in there. Actually, now that I think about it, there's no need to do that, because that seats on there. So I should just do the whole thing, that full diameter. Yeah. Okay. Now I've got the hole drilled for the shaft to go through there. So now I've got this roughly lined up where I want it. Doesn't have to be too precise. So I can trace around this housing. So now I can take my router, take a 7/16 out from this whole area, and then this will seat in there. Hot damn, that's perfect. Hell yeah. All right, I got the majority of the box all finished up, at least all roughed, glued and screwed. And now I just have to figure out how I want to do the top. I'm gonna make some sort of hatch up on top. So I'm gonna put a little lip around it and then maybe plank a nice hatch in that'll be on hinges. But for now, this is what it's looking like. Like I said in the beginning, it's definitely nothing too fancy. It's just box, butt joints, no fine joinery or anything, but I mean, it really doesn't have to be anything more than this. Here's more of a close-up. See how it's recessed into there. Cables will come down through here and then down through a hole in the deck. So this is the operation of it. And then you can pull the neutral button and then it doesn't shift it. And so you can just throttle, so like starting your engine if you need to start with a little bit of throttle or whatever. And then you push that back in and then it'll shift.
Garrett finishes out the day wood plugging. Up next. So will you have to cut a hole through the deck?
Yeah, there's gonna be actually quite a few holes through the deck in here. That's why I built the box so big, because it's not just gonna hold the engine controls, it's also gonna be pressure, fresh and salt system.
The engine's moving up on the priority list. There's a million pieces, both big and small, before we can hear this beast roar again. We're eager, and we know you are too. Clean up all the progress you and DJ made.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for watching.
How the hell did we build a boat in Washington when there's 4.5 feet of snow and it was 8 degrees?
I don't know, we had more grit then, I guess.
And Ruth can edit this, so if we say stupid shit.
Oh yeah, she has to edit so much of what I say. She makes me look somewhat sane. And I've just been... You okay?
Slid my whole table and my beer went on the new cushions.
Why? What is with you and spilling alcohol on the new things that we or other people get? Someone was nice enough to let us stay at their house. Brand new set of couches, beautiful suede couches. The very first night, I don't even think the owner of the house had sat on them yet, and Ruth was editing a video, much like she is now, and she knocked an entire glass of red wine all over the couch. What's that?
What? Yeah. What? It's pointing down at you. It catches you even when you're sitting up mostly, and then when you're down here you can kind of see. Oh, I see. You wanted to actually see what we're doing, huh?
Shut up.